Is the screen visible to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So in the earlier classes, that is in the last week, we have seen the various ways or the different elements that you can use for constructing the form. So coming to the next chapter from this second module, where we are going to discuss the advanced CSS in the form of the layouts. We'll see the few examples that how you can create the layouts by using the various properties of the CSS here. So before that, we'll understand what is a layout and how does it is going to make difference if you are going to use these CSS properties in order to change the layout of your web page. Okay, so what is a layout? First, tell me before I begin with the actual syllabus over here from this chapter. So can you tell me what is a layout with respect to the web page? So you have done a very good assignments, right? So what is a layout with respect to the web page that you have designed? Isn't it a general term, the word layout? Yes, any one of you, especially those who have demonstrated your assignments, you have used a very good layout for your web page, right? So how come you are able to use it without knowing the meaning of the layout over there? Right, so even you have used the many of the CSS properties which were not discussed in the classes as well. Probably that might be the result of the internship that you might have done, or else it might be the examples that you might have referred from the internet, right? So I'm not blaming it, but if you have used it, at least you should know the meaning of the each term that you have used, and you should be able to elaborate it, isn't it? You should be able to justify the whatever the properties that you might used in your web pages. Okay. So before that, just tell me what is the meaning of only the layout with respect to the web page. What is a layout? When I say that you have to change the entire layout of your web page. So what actually I meant over there? So if I just ask you, so whenever you are demonstrating the assignment, if I ask you change the entire layout of your web page, so what I'm supposed to do there, or what I'm asking you to do?
Arrangement of text and images.
Arrangement of the text and the images. In general, you can say that the locations where you have placed the every content of the web page. So if I ask you to change the entire layout, I'm just asking you to change the locations of the each content that you have taken in your web page, isn't it? So that is with respect to be said as a layout over there, right? So in today's class, we'll discuss few of the CSS properties that will help you to change the layout, or that will help you to put your contents according to your choice with respect to the positions or the locations in your web page. Okay, so before that, you should understand the whenever you use the any element in the web page, so where they will be positioned by default, how they will be positioned in the web page. So for that, you have the two kinds of the elements, the block level elements and the inline level elements. The block level elements examples are the paragraph element, division element, table element, list elements, right? So these all are the block level elements which are going to appear by default vertically. So if you use them without any CSS properties, they are going to appear one after the other vertically. So that means each of these elements are going to by default provided with the breadth line. So where they are going to begin with a new line every time you include them in your web page. Okay. So the inline element examples are the images, EM elements, the span elements, and the text elements, and the strong. So all the inline elements, so that we have discussed in the first module, they are going to by default appear horizontally no matter wherever they have been included in your code. Suppose if you have included in another block level element, they will be appearing one after the other horizontally. So this is the default way of the application of these elements whenever you use them in your example. So in this figure, you can see here, H1 has been used, which is a block level element, and the list has been used. Again, a paragraph has been used, the division has been used, followed by the another H2, and at last one more paragraph element is there. So if you do not apply the any CSS properties here to this example, so by default, how they are going to appear in the web page? They are going to appear one after the other vertically. You need not have to include any explicit breakline element here. So if simply if you use them in your coding, they are going to appear one after the other as shown in this figure here. Are you able to make sense here what I'm trying to convey? Yes or
Yes,
no?
ma'am.
That's right. So by default, they are going to appear one after the other. So which is termed as the block level elements here, right? So similarly, the inline elements. In this example, you can see here within the paragraph here. If you want to see in this code, you can see here within the paragraph you have used the image element. You have put a text over here. You have used the strong element, right? So though the P is a block level element, the other elements that you have included within P, they are going to appear one after the other. So for example, you can see here this is the text that is going to be put here. Suppose if this image can be put within this size, that is going to be put after this text horizontally, followed by the next level of the text. Again, the anchor element is also the inline element, so which is going to be put over here, followed by the next inline element. So what I meant to say here, whenever you use the any inline elements within your entire code, those are going to appear one after the other horizontally. Okay. So this is the default way how the browser is going to make the content display whenever you develop the web pages, right? So now coming to the question over here is it possible to change this default behavior? Of course it can be, right? So that is how the web pages are going to be designed. So no one is going to be interested in the traditional or the default way how the browser is going to display your web pages. That is not going to be the attractive way of the content of the web pages over there. So to make it more attractive, or to make it the layout to be designed according to your choice, you are going to do that by using the certain CSS properties here. Right. So what are the different properties that you can use here? See, most of you have, those who have shown me the assignments, everyone, almost all, every one of you have used these properties. Right. So these properties can be used to the any element of the HTML of your choice to make them appear at a specific location in the web page. So just in simplicity, you can understand here. Position is a CSS property which can be used to the any element of the HTML to make it appear at a specific location in your HTML. Right. So what are the different values that you can use for the position property is absolute, fixed, relative, and the static. Right. So if you use a absolute value to the position property, so what does it is going to make? It is going to remove the default position of the element, and it is going to be positioned in relation to its nearest positioned ancestor. Okay. So with an example, I'll tell you how does it is going to make difference if you use the absolute value to the position property. Right. So right now you just understand the how what does it is going to make. Whenever you use the any element, so by default it is going to be appearing in one position which is defined by the browser, right? So for that, if you use the absolute for that element or that content, if you use the absolute value for this position property, in that case that particular element is going to be moved or removed from its usual position, and it is going to be placed at a relatively to the one position as compared to its ancestor. Okay, so it is not going to be defined exactly that where you are going to place them in the web page. Instead, you can define or you can tell that with respect to its ancestor element where you have used in your coding. So with respect to its ancestor element, it is going to be repositioned depending upon the relative values of its ancestor element over there. Right. Suppose if you use the fixed as a value to the position property, in that case the to the element or to the content for which you have used the fixed as a value, that content is going to be fixed to that position itself. So no matter if you have the n number of the contents in your web page, and if you scroll that web page, the content is going to be fixed at one position in your web page. Right. So the another value that you can use for the position property is relative. So the element is moved relative to where it could be in the normal flow. So for example, to the content, if you have specified any specific margin values or the padding values, so to relate it to that values, the position of that element can be replaced. So I'll show you with an example. Okay. So static is the default one. The default values that is going to be put by the browser. So that is going to be as a static value over here. So now we'll see with the different examples that how does it is going to make difference if you use the absolute value for the position property or the fixed value or the relative or the static here. Okay. Okay, instance here, this is an example. And while defining the style to the figure element, so you can see here to the figure element. I hope you remember what is the figure element. The help of the figure element, you can include the image and the figure caption together into a single element known as the figure element here. So to this figure element, I have defined the so many properties here. Like to that figure element, the border has been defined, and the background color has been defined, the padding has been defined, width been defined, and you can see here the position property has been defined with the value absolute here. Okay, so I'll put a comment to this property and will show you how does it is displayed and what happens if you apply the position element there. Okay, so right here I'll put a comment over here. So figure has been defined, and within the body we'll see a large paragraph has been taken. Within that paragraph, a figure element has been taken to which the all the properties that has been defined is going to be applied. And within that figure, a image has been put, followed by a figure caption, and followed by the another paragraph over here. Okay, so I'll just run this program. So this is how it is going to be displayed by default: a paragraph, an image with a border, and the figure caption followed by the another paragraph here. Okay, so we'll see what is the difference it is going to make over here. Are you able to see this screen? Are you able to see the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So this is a execution of the default behavior of the contents that we have put into that program without the absolute property or without the position property over there. Okay, so again I have modified it and I'll rerun it to just observe what changes does it going to make over here. Okay, so are you able to see the difference? Just now I have refreshed this page to apply the position property that I have modified in the program. Are you able to make the difference over here? So earlier the image was over here. Are you able to make the difference?
Yes, ma'am.
It has just changed its position, right? So how does it is able to change, or with what values it is going to change? That is dependent upon the ancestor element that we have defined over there. So which is the ancestor element that has been applied to this image? Ancestor in the sense where that image has been put in the programming. Have you observed when I showed you the program? So have you observed where that figure element has been used? It has been included into the paragraph element. That means it is going to be repositioned relatively to the paragraph where it has been appeared. So to the paragraph we have not applied the any styles. That means this paragraph has been appeared with the default application by the browser, right? So to relatively to that values itself, the this figure has been replaced with the some positions. So this is how the absolute value is going to be making difference if you use it with the position property. Okay, so let's see the other values over here. So we'll see the relative values here. How does it is going to the make difference, right? So what I told you, how does the relative is going to make difference? The element is going to be moved relative to where it would be in the normal flow. So that means the relative with respect to the values that you have defined with that element over here. Okay, so in this case, you can see here the same example I have considered, but here you one thing you can observe here, whatever the value that has been taken for the padding, width, position, and the top and the left margins. These are the top and the left margins. The values that has been considered here are 250 pixel, 200 pixel, and the here 200 pixel for the width here. Right. So if you use the position property with a relative as a value, so the replacement of this content is going to made with respect to the values that has been taken here. So the top 250 means again another 250 is going to be considered, left another 200 values will be considered. So in this way, again the padding also is going to be considered with the another 5 pixel over here. So in this way, relatively to the whatever the values that you have defined here, that is going to be replaced with some more extra value with these values here. So that is going to be applied to this content here. Okay, so I'll show you with the execution again here. So what I'll do, I'll just put a comment over here. First, we'll see how it is going to make appearance without using the position property with a relative value here. Okay. Okay. So this is the default one without using the position property. So we'll see what does it is going to make difference if I apply the position property with a relative value. So now I have changed the values. So I'll refresh this page to observe the difference of the position property here. Right. So are you able to see the difference? The entire figure element or the content of the figure has been replaced relatively to the values that we have defined for that element over there. No matter whether it is going to be overlapped with the other content, it is just going to replace that to with respect to the values that we have defined with the margins of the left, top, or right, or whatever that we have taken for that element over there. So in the earlier case where we have used the absolute as a value, in that case it is going to do consider with the values that we have put for the ancestor properties, so to make it sure that the replacement is done relatively to its ancestor property without overlapping with that. So in case with if we use the relative as a value, this is going to just move that content with respect to the values that we have defined for that content over there. So are you able to understand the difference between the absolute and the relative values here? Are you able to understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Others, are you able to understand? Okay. So depending upon your choice, whenever you are developing your page, you can just experiment with these values, and you can decide that which property you want to use with the which value over there. Right. So coming to the further concepts, I just want you to try with the fixed and the static values by your own. Okay. So I have shown you the absolute and the relative. The fixed is going to, it is just going to fix that element to the one position in your entire screen, no matter whether you scroll the content or not. So even if you scroll also, that position or that content is going to be fixed at the one position. So whereas coming to the static is, it is just according to the normal flow what is done by the browser. Okay. So I have shown you the difference, right? So the same difference you have observed in the execution over there, that has been given in this slide. So coming to the one more property that we can use is the Z index. So what does this Z index property is going to do? Okay. So directly we shall discuss with the example only, so that will make you more clear that what does the Z index, or how does the Z index property is going to help you to apply the styles to the contents over there. Right. So So is this slide clearly visible to you? The figure that has been included in this slide. So just concentrate only on this figure and the caption that is given over here. Okay. See, whenever you have the any content in your web page to appear as a overlapped, if you have the two or three contents that has been overlapped one on the other. So in that case, even if you have the overlapped contents within your web page, in that case, if you want to make the one content to appear on the top and the other content to appear at the back side, at the back end, so that can be applied to the contents by using the Z index property. See, the more the positive values, that is going to be closer to the viewpoint. The more the lower values, that is going to be to the at the back end. So in this case, are you able to see that the figure that we have taken is appearing on the caption that has been included here? The caption is hiding, so the most of the portion of the caption is at the back end of this figure. So that is the result of these two properties that we have defined here. To the figure, you can see here the Z index value is 1, whereas to the figure caption the Z index value is -1. That means you want the figure or the image to appear at the top, whereas the rest of the information that is for the figure caption can be hidden back to this image over there. So depending upon the values that you are going to take over here, so the more positive values, that is going to make that content to appear closer to the screen, whereas the rest of the contents as compared to this, which is going to be lesser than this, is going to appear at the back end over there. Okay. So I'll just show this for you. You can see here we have taken the style to be applied for the image element, in which the position property has been defined with the absolute value, and the left and the top margins are 0 pixel. And one more thing you can see here, the image is having the Z index value as a -1 here. So that means the rest of this has to appear at the back end, whereas the rest of the content what you are going to take within the body section has to appear overlapping with this content over here. Okay, so we'll see what has been done here in the body. Heading element has been taken, followed by the image has been taken. So to this image, all these properties will be applied. What you have defined in the CSS, all these properties are going to be applied for this image. And the next, followed by the paragraph has been taken here. Okay. So we'll see how does it is going to make difference once we execute this program here. Are you able to see this screen? Are you able to see here? So you can
Yes,
see
ma'am.
here, this image we have applied the Z index property with the value as a -1, and to the rest of the content we have not at all defined the any properties. So that means the image for which we have used the Z index property with the -1 has to appear at the back end, whereas the rest of the content from the body section has to appear more closer to the viewer point. That means the one which is going to be overlapped is defined with the Z index property. So depending upon if your choice, whenever you want to make your content to appear in the similar way, you can use the Z index properties with the specific values over there. You can experiment how does it is going to make difference if you change these values there. Okay. Is everyone clear with the Z index property? Or does anyone have any confusion? Probably in the assignments you might have used it. So for the different purpose, for example, if you have the any image upon which you want to write some text, or if you want to include the some other logos over there, in that case you can go for using this Z index property. Am I clear? Is it clear? Is it clear or not?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So coming to the fixed value that you can take for the position property. So as I told you that whenever you use the any content with the position property with the fixed value, that particular content is going to be fixed at that position itself. Okay, so you can see here in this example. So to the figure element in this entire section, in this entire example, the position property has been defined with a fixed value, and these two are the margins that has been used here. So you can see here this particular image is fixed at this location, and why they have included the arrow mark over here is even if you scroll down that content, it is going to remain at that position itself, no matter the backend data or the data whatever has been put here. Even if you are going to scroll that content, this figure is going to be fixed at this position itself if we use the position property with the fixed value. Okay, so coming to the next concept is the floating element, so which is going to make your content to be appearing in more attractive way here. Okay, so let's see how we can use this floating property. See, the float property can be used with the two values, that is the right and the left, to tell that the where the content needs to be positioned and where the rest of the content is going to appear here. Okay, so before that we'll see this example, and rest I'll show you the execution over there. So in this first example over here, in this first image, you can see here a paragraph has been taken. In the next section, you can see here the image has been put at the left side, and the rest of the content or the rest of the paragraph is floating around that image. Floating in the sense, without wasting this space, it is going to begin from here itself, and as soon as it completes the last line comparable to this image, it is going to continue from this position here. So how this is possible, or how you can make the content to float like this by using the float property here. Okay, so you can see here the float property was supposed to be displayed, right? uh, I think this is an example to show that if you take in this way, the content is going to be overlapped, right? So here you can see here to this figure element, the float property has been used at the right, and the you can also specify the width and the margin. If you wish, you can apply it. So if you apply this styles to this content over there, you can see here the image or the figure that is it can be positioned at the right side. If you take the value as a right to the float property, it is going to be positioned at the right, and the rest of the content is going to just flow around it, right? So don't be confused that to which element you want to apply. You have to apply the float property. The one which you want to be fixed at one position, and the rest of the content is going to flow around it, right? So to the one you want to fix, to that content itself, you just use the float property with a specific value, so that rest of the content you need not have to apply, or you need not have to define any values over there. Instead, the rest of the content is going to flow around the content to which the float property has been used here. Okay, so I'll show it an example here. So you can see here, I have defined the two image properties here. So I want to use the uh, two image properties with the one as a float right and the another one as the float left here. Okay. So within the body section, you can see here, the body has been started with the header element, followed by the image is there, and followed by the followed by the paragraph, and followed by the image, to which I have applied the class is equal to image one. In the sense, this property I have made that image to be fixed at the right position, and followed by the rest of the content over here. And I think one more image element has been taken at the last, where the for which the class has been applied with the image to property. That means this image has to be fixed at the left position. So the one earlier has to be fixed at the right position, this one has to be fixed at the left position, and the rest of the content has to be flowed around it. So you can see here, to the rest of the content I have not applied anything. So instead, only to the images for which I have defined the styles, only to that images the float property has been applied, to tell that those two images needs to be fixed at the right and the left position, and the rest of the content whatever you have taken within the body section is going to flow around those two images. Okay, so let's see the execution here. Okay, so are you able to see this? I think most of you have used this property in your assignments. Okay, so the things will be more clear if you have used them. So you can see here, so the one image, the first image I have fixed at the right position, whereas the next image has been fixed at the left position. And in between, whatever the contents that we have taken within the body section is going to just flow around these two images over there. Right. So the thing here is that do not get confused that where you need to use the float property. So the one which you want to fix at one position, and the rest of the thing you want to be flowing around it. So the content which you want to make it appear at a specific location. So to that content you just apply the float properties. So by default, the rest of the content whatever you have taken in between is going to flow around those contents over there. So float is not restricted only to be used for the images over there. So if you have any paragraph for which you want to put the border, if you want to put the background, and if you feel that that can be fixed at one position with a specific background or the border, you can even apply the float property for the paragraph as well. So even the heading also. So to that, if you want to make it appear for the any content, so make sure the size that you want to, that you restrict to those contents, no matter whether it is an image or the paragraph or the heading. So to whichever the element or whichever the content you want to fix at the one position, to that content make sure that the size that you define for those contents, right? So if you are going to vary the size, if the size is not appropriate with the float properties that you have used, you might not make any difference in the appearance. For example, if the width of this image is such a large that it is going to cover this entire screen over here, so in that case if you even use the float property on that this image, you might not make any difference with the appearance over there. So it is going to cover the entire screen, so there is no left space, and there is no any space left for the other contents to flow around it. So in that case, you are just going to observe the as usual appearance of the web pages over there. So in that case, so whenever you use the float properties on the any of the contents, make sure that size is going to be visible so that the rest of the content can flow around those contents over there. Okay. So is everyone clear with the float property? Is everyone clear with the float property? Or else does anyone have the any confusion or the any doubts? At least am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Audible.
So just tell me, is it
Yes,
clear,
ma'am.
or does anyone have the any confusion?
No doubt.
I want the everyone to understand the concepts, not only the one or two. Every time I'm getting the response from the only one or the two students, I want even the confirmation from the others as well. Whenever I ask the any doubts you have, please do confirm that whether you understood or not. So if we are not able to tell through the audio, you can just text me if you have the any confusion. Right. So do not keep the any confusions in your mind. Okay. See again, what kind of the questions are going to be asked on these concepts is probably if the theory questions are to be asked, they are going to directly ask you like explain the position properties with different values, explain the significance of the z index property, explain the significance of the float properties. Right. So in that case, you can explain it in a theoretical way by taking the simple examples, and you need to demonstrate even in the term in terms of the figures to explain how does it is going to make difference if you are going to use these properties in your program, right? So in the rest of the cases, in terms of the programming part, directly they are going to give you the requirements. Based upon that, you need to judge that which property you have to use. So again, I'm telling you that no one is going to mention you in the question that which properties needs to be used, right? So based upon the requirements in the questions itself, you have to identify by yourself that which property was supposed to be used over there. Okay. So I hope everyone is clear with the position property and the float properties. Okay. So now we'll see how we can make the things to appear one after the other, floating the multiple items side by side. So in that case, you can just go for using the float to be applied for the common element for which you want to make it appear one after the other over there. So in this case, in this example, you can see here, the figure element has been defined with the properties as a width and the float. Float as being the left here. And to all the figures that has been taken in this body section will be applied with this properties here. That means all the figures are going to be appearing on the left one after the other. So for example, this figure has been appeared over here, to this left another figure, and to this left another figure, until and unless everything is covered over there. So even after applying all these properties, if some space has been left over there, so rest of the paragraph content is going to flow around those images over there. Okay. Okay, so the what problem may arise is if you use the multiple floats over there. So as in this case, what problem may arise? See it, how does it has to appear purely depends upon the size of the screen that is being supported by the browser, right? So in some cases, the browser may resize, or the scale of the screen that is going to be considered by the browsers may be different. In such cases, you can see here, as in this example, you can see here all the images are covered with the entire screen. So whatever the content that has to flow around these images is going to appear as a default behavior over here, right? So in that case, what can be done here is one more property you can use over here is clear, in order to remove the float application on the sum of the contents here. Okay. So what are the different values that you can take for the clear properties is clear left, clear right, clear both, or clear none, right? So if you use clear left, so the left hand edge of that element cannot be the adjacent to the another element. So if you use the clear property with the left, to the content to which you have used the clear property, that content cannot have anything on the left. So similarly to the content where you have used the clear property to the right, that content on the right side, it cannot have the any element. If you use the both, then the both cannot have the both side cannot have the any element to be taken over there, right? So this is how it is going to the make difference here. Okay, so you can see here the property has been defined with the name as a first, and to which we have taken it as a clear with the value as a left. So that means to the left of it cannot have the any value. So you can see here, with as compared with the earlier example where we have taken the float value for the figure with the value as a left over here, that means which is going to appear on the left one after the other. So in this case, what does it is going to make difference here is, you can see here all these figures starting from here, this figure is going to appear on the left, to this left the next position is the next figure, and after that this figure, right? So when it comes to this figure for which the style has been applied as a class is equal to first, in which we have taken the clear property as a left, that means this figure should not have anything on its left side. So as I told you, to the content where you are using the clear with the left, to that content the left should not have anything. So that means this figure on its left cannot have anything. So that means even if there is a space as well here, so you cannot put that image over here. Why? Because if you put that to the left of that image, there are the another three figures. Since we have used the clear as a property here, so that with the value left, that means that particular figure should not have anything on its left. So that's why even though there is a space over here, so it is going to make appear to the next line, so that it cannot have anything on its left. Okay, so similarly, depending upon your choice, you can use the clear property if you want to, if you don't want to make the flow property to be applied to the any of the contents over there. Am I clear? Is it clear? So let me see whether I have the example with the clear property or not. Okay, I have used the one example here. Okay, so let's see what has been done in this example. To the image, we have defined the float property with the value left, and we have taken the another style where we want to clear it with the both the sections. That is, I don't want to have anything on the left or the right for the particular property over there. Okay, so we'll see for to which element we have defined this property, to the paragraph element. So that means we are not interested to make this paragraph to flow around this image here. So let's see what happens here. So within the body section, header followed by the image to which the float property is applied with the left. That means this image is going to be placed at the left position, followed by the paragraph elements. We have used it here to the all the paragraphs. This property is going to be applied for the all the paragraphs here. That means all the paragraphs are going to appear on the new line itself. I hope so. So let's see how does it is going to make difference if I execute this program here. Okay. Okay, so are you able to see the screen? You can see here, so as in the body section, initially it started with the header, followed by the, you have the image which needs to be positioned at the left, and I think I forgot to show you one more thing here. Okay, just a minute. Okay, so you can see here in this code, a heading followed by the image which has to appear at the left, and this paragraph for which we have not applied the any style. Right, so whatever the style that we have defined, p dot clear. So I think by mistake I told you earlier that it is going to be applied for the all paragraphs. No, only with the paragraphs which have the class with the clear value will be applied over there. Right, so you can see here, to this paragraph we have not applied any styles. That means the content of this paragraph has to flow around this image. So this image is going to be fixed at the left, and this content has to flow around this image. And to the next paragraph, you can see here, even though there is a space to flow around that image, to this paragraph we have applied the class as a clear. That means to this class what we have taken is clear property with the both. That means this should not have anything on its even the right or else on the left. That means this paragraph has to entirely appear on the new line itself, followed by the another paragraph which is going to be taken for the new line itself. Okay, so let's see here. Okay, so just observe here. So heading followed by the image which needs to be fixed at the left, and this is the content of the paragraph which is going to flowing around this image, right? So to this next content, you can see this text. for which we have applied the clear property with the value as a both. That means we should not have anything on its right or the left, right? So in that case, even though there is a space to be included to flow around this image, it is going to take that thing to the new line only because of application of the clear property over there. Okay, so for which you can say that it has taken it to the new line to make it clear that it should not have any content, even it's to the left position as well as to the right position. Okay, so am I clear? Am I clear that how does it is going to make difference if you use the clear property here? Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So further things I'll continue in the next class, that is in the tomorrow's class. Okay. So does anyone have any doubt with respect to your